I was in retail for over 20 years, and based on circumstance, was no longer in that field for a year. I was home with my family, and Hire and Fire Your Kids kept coming back to me as it was something that I had created when I was on mat leave with my daughter, and it made a big impact on our family that 1 year that we played. And so I brought it back, and I worked with some test families to see if it actually made a difference in their homes versus just in mine. And I honestly expected families to come back and say, you know what, didn't really work, thanks for trying. But to my surprise, every single family came back with positive things to say, positive impact on their kids, things they were learning about themselves. And I got very excited because I honestly wasn't expecting 100% positive feedback. So based on that feedback, we decided to move forward. Searched out an app development team and ended up going with one here in Whitby because that's where I'm from. And our test families will begin using the prototype this fall. When I started this out, I honestly was looking for a way to stay home with my family and maybe make, I don't know, a small amount of money to ensure that I could stay home and be with my kids because I didn't realize how wonderful it would be. I started working when I was 12 years old and loved all the jobs that I had, and maybe was a little bit of a workaholic. And so when forced to sort of be home with your family, I thought I'd go a little bit squirrely, but I loved every minute of it and realized that life is short. And I remember my mom, and my mom's message stuck with me when she was in the hospital, and she just said, Jody, there's so much more to life than working and making good money, and she just stressed the importance of family. So that definitely stuck with me after she did pass, and I thought, why not work for yourself? I worked my butt off for all these companies, and it was quite a sting to realize it really doesn't matter based on politics or what have you. Things can end no matter what sort of worker you are. So I've decided to work for myself. I've decided to put all of my savings through all the years, my registered retirement savings plan is paying for this app, and I just really think it can make an impact on families. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it on my street there, my first test families, and I see it with the kids, and I don't know how to explain it, but I think it might even be a movement. I know it sounds really silly, but yeah, like I just remember the kids coming outside one day and they're like, oh, got an X. And they're like, oh my God, I got an X. What'd you get your X for? Oh, I didn't make the bed. And I was watching this happen, and then another kid came up and was like, hey, I just earned $20 in kids cash. And I don't know, I just think this is going to have such an impact on families and on schools. And could you imagine if everyone was playing Hire and Fire Your Kids, the sort of community it could bring to people. If everyone's sort of parenting with this particular tool, I just can't imagine how we sort of all be on the same page and all be looking out for each other, and the kids will all be using the same lingo. And I just see this as a win-win for both the kids and... I'm not a parenting expert or a therapist, but I base this app off of a retail environment that I've been in for over 20 years. And you know what? I always compared leading my team like being a parent. Very similar style for whatever reason. And, you know, my greatest strength, I think, and what I love the most about the roles that I had been in is developing people and seeing people succeed. And I think being home for a year, I sort of looked at my family as though they were my team. And my job was to set the expectations and ensure that they followed the expectations based on recognition, reward, and discipline, which we do in a work environment. And I worked brilliantly in the home environment too. The one thing I was always curious about being a leader in a retail environment was we had some managers or associates that had very high initiative. You set the expectations and they would just go it. You didn't really have to follow up, just like touch them every once in a while. But the majority of them needed constant attention, constant follow-up, setting the deadlines, following up on the deadlines, and it honestly drove me crazy. And coming home and sort of comparing the work environment to the home environment, I wonder, and again, no studies have been done, but I think as parents, we're constantly telling our kids what to do versus giving them the opportunity to show us what they can do. And this app has the tools that you need to sort of set the expectations and have them decide if they want to play and have them decide what jobs they want to apply for, etc. So I think we have more kids that are using this tool, and it encourages them taking the initiative, being more accountable, being more independent, being more respectful. That's got to have an impact on our kids when they get out there in the real world and are working for others or working for themselves. So that's my hope. Again, no studies have been done, but based on what I've seen in my home and my work environment, I honestly think this is a huge impact on our children and preparing them for the real world.